The 6312, as they said, has been creeping and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now it's like monster level. And it's met its monster match with Letitia James at the helm, ready to go after anyone and everyone. I mean, you guys know the drill, right? Remember her? What she was saying, how she wanted to go after him, how she campaigned on this. This was her entire shtick.
He's called me venomous.
We will fight back to your attempt to bring Trumpism to New York City.
He's called me disgraceful.
Over the fact that they stole the Supreme Court seat. An illegitimate president and an illegitimate member of the United States Supreme Court.
He's called me radical.
Listen, yes. We know he's crazy. Yes. We know he doesn't have a sound mind. Yes. We know he's out of control. Yes. We know he's losing it. Yes. We know his days are numbered and we will come together.
He's called me a racist.
We've got to stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Okay, you get it? You understand how actually this is becoming quite alarming and quite scary. And so when they say, whoa, like where are the guardrails for 6312? That statute, maybe we need to put some in because we can't have the likes of Letitia James or whoever her successor might be out there doing crazy stuff, going after people for no reason. Meanwhile, what about the judge? Because he needs to be disbarred too. He's coming up with a wild 489, forgive me, million. Let's just call it 500 million, okay? It's like nearly $500 million that he wants to fine Trump. He did, by the way. They had to come out with the loan bill, right? I mean, this is bonkers. Who the heck would ever want to do business in New York City or America for that matter? I mean, look, they're watching on the international stage. Don't kid yourself. This is pathetic, pathetic stuff. And so the judge knows that she's getting too much power and we got to do something. We got to do something about Letitia. Well, what do you do about Letitia? She's been going crazy with this 6312 thing. I think you disbar. I think that's the answer here because there's no responsibility. She's completely out over her skis. It's what Representative Stefanik is asking for with the professional committee. And when this thing comes down and it gets badly reversed, you want to know what's going to happen? Everybody's going to be asking for her to be disbarred, and I think there's a good chance it's going to happen. But let's go to the judge who's saying, okay, we need some protections. We need something. This woman is kind of out there.
Back to Justice Moulton's point about line drawing, because I do think that is very important in this case. You know the history of this statute. It's passed under then AG Javits, and then was really amplified by AG Lefkowitz over the years. And when I went back and read the bill jackets, the common thread was always we need greater power. The AG needs greater powers as the people's lawyer to protect consumers, civil rights, and the environment. And so again, with that sort of historical backdrop to this law, how do we draw a line or at least put up some guardrails to know when the AG is operating well within her admittedly broad sphere of 6312, and when she is going into an area that wasn't intended for her jurisdiction?
In other words, she's in an area that was not intended for her jurisdiction, right? Because remember what the judge was saying in the very, very beginning before Judith Vale could go so much as a word out?
Please the court, Judith Vale for the New York Attorney General's office. All of the defendants repeatedly violated.
Oops, wait, let's play it again because this is important. This is important. I want you to hear
May
it.
it please the court, Judith Vale for the...
Okay, he cuts her off.
Identify any previous case in which the Attorney General sued under Executive Law 6312 to upset a private business transaction that was between equally sophisticated partners where the supposed victim had the ability and legal obligation to discover the allegedly misrepresented matters by conducting its own due diligence, where the supposed wrongdoer advised the supposed victim through written disclaimers to conduct its own due diligence and to draw its own conclusions, where the alleged misrepresentation almost entirely concerned inherently subjective valuations of properties and businesses.
Yes.
And where the victim never complained about any fraud in the transactional losses from it. Because I've gone through the cases which you've cited, and all of them always involved the consumer protection aspect. It involved protection of the market.
Oh, several responses.
And I want to add to his question, and little to no impact on the public marketplace.
In other words, we know what this was about. Again, they're two sophisticated parties. They're doing a deal, okay? They make the decision what it's really worth, and they make the decision whether they're willing to land at a certain rate, okay? Letitia is not supposed to be involved in this at all. So when they're using this monstrous statute, 6312, the judges are saying, we need guardrails, we need to protect against this kind of rabid political AG like Letitia James. They actually call her right out. That's how you know this thing is getting reversed. It's going to get reversed. She is going to be in jeopardy of being disbarred. I believe she should be disbarred. I believe she will be. I've seen a lot of similarities, very different cases, obviously. But I remember being 6 weeks on the ground covering the Duke lacrosse story. Remember that? And what happened? That DA got disbarred because he was way out, making stuff up effectively, all to kind of have it fit with his narrative. I mean, she's kind of making stuff up here, trying to have it fit with her narrative. She thinks that somehow she's responsible for Deutsche Bank and an individual loan that they're making. So we need guardrails, that's for sure.